I'm wearing a sports coat because I'm wearing a wire.
Well, now I feel weird talking to you, Mitch, all of a sudden. All right, guys, let's start with quick introductions. Who are you guys? Tell us a little bit about DRM and what you do there.
Yeah, so Mitch Johnson, Executive Vice President, franchisee of DRM. We own and operate 119 Arby's locations across the Midwest. We also have a Buffalo Wild Wings Go. We're a third-generation family business, and we're based out of the bustling metropolis. Some call it the Tokyo of the Midwest, Omaha, Nebraska.
Last night it was the Miami of the Midwest.
Yeah.
So changing
What
our
is it gonna be
story
tonight?
here. Abbey Ramsey, Director of Marketing for the franchisee DRM. As Mitchell introduced us, all about us. But I've been with the company for 17 years, so deeply involved, and it has my heart.
So Mitch, Abby, and I worked really closely together as we were rolling out the Arby's online ordering and loyalty platforms. Now, I can attest, I've been to a lot of Arby's restaurants, and the DRM in-restaurant experience is sometimes, like, bar none, better than most I've ever seen. So what do you guys do to make sure that in-restaurant experience really stands out above everything else?
So the answer isn't sexy. It really is, you have to execute the systems. And a lot of great franchises have great systems, and if you take the time to get into your restaurants, I thought Casey brought up a great point earlier of all of us marketers, operators, everyone needs to get into restaurants and really understand what the team's going through and working with. So we really, as a franchisee, make sure we're in our restaurants executing the systems. So that's part one. Part two is a little bit cuter, is more what Donna was talking about earlier too, is just connection. So human connection, as we get more and more into AI, technology, kiosks, digital, all these things, I think you need to lean even deeper into human connection and making sure that the in-restaurant experience, and it's the little things, it's like, hello, how are you? Saying thank you to guests, going to the table and asking them how their experience was, how their meal was, and really leaning into that human connection that can't be lost in this digital age.
So you're saying just like common decency
Yeah.
goes a long way
In
marketing?
today's day, it really does. If you guys have experienced recently gone to a restaurant and someone looked you in the eyes, was smiling and said hello and said thank you for coming there, like, I don't know about you, but that's like a whoa.
Yeah. It just starts with our team and that people-focused culture for our team so they can do what's most important and serve the guests.
So, Mitch, you've kind of grew up in this industry, right? On the operator side, I've really seen all facets of running the Arby's restaurants. Like, what was the most surprising thing to you to find out when you really got close to the front line?
Yeah, so I've been doing this for over a decade. Our family's been doing it for 45 years. Arby's sauce courses through my veins. But what I'd tell you is, like, when you work in this industry, you have a lot of turnover. So one of the things that was touched on earlier was training. So training is of the utmost importance. So that was kind of shocking how many people you just turn over naturally. So you want to be best in industry with turnover. You focus on bringing people in the right way and not, at one point we called it Operation Apron. Like, don't just hand someone an apron and like, hey, get on the back line, we need help right now. So really focusing and anchoring yourself in training. But for me, it's always about the people and staying focused on that and then executing the simple things. Like I said, a lot of these companies that are represented here today have great systems. We as franchisees just need to execute those.
Abby, on the marketing side of stuff, you guys do a lot to engage in the local community, right? I mean, I think you get really close to the people and it's so unique to each of your restaurants. So how do you balance the national calendar windows with the local initiatives that you also want to support?
Sure. So I think it's just first about looking at the big picture. So, of course, when the national communications come out, we take a look at that, and then either underneath that, how can we plus up national, or how can we be supportive in a cohesive way? So whether that's running a different promotion, it's just still keeping a pulse on the big picture and making sure they're working together, because we're always brand first focused. If we're not working together, it's just not going to work in a holistic way. But I think it's just that vein, keeping your eye on the big picture.
Do you ever feel like we're running too many messages during one calendar window?
Oh, for sure.
Mitch, you had a little chuckle over there. I feel like you want to say something.
No, yes, you have to be cautious of like, so you're starting to sell something, whether let's say it's an LTO, but now you're like coming out of one, so it's like a stop sell moment. So now you have multiple products. One's a sell through, one's a start sell. If you're locally as a franchise, if we're running something, and then nationally they're running, it can just be a lot. I don't know who said that earlier, was talking about when he was at Burger King and there's 40 different messages. It was Casey, I think. That can resonate at times.
And do you find that that's hard, that must be hard for the frontline associates, right? So how do you kind of educate or train them up on that process of, here's the national campaign, here's the 1, 2, 3 things you guys need to know about to tell these customers?
Yeah, so we call it 3, 2, 1. So 3 weeks out, if we have a national campaign or LTO activation, 3 weeks out, we have the general managers get a management activation guide that's got everything from what you're going to expect to be getting coming into your restaurant from a supply chain, all your register keys, how the tempering process works, how the sandwich build, prep, all of that comes into in a mag. And then from there, they do a national training call, so go through the LTO activation. And then kind of a blended learning approach. We have e-learning, so there's online learning. General managers take their management LTO activation course. Then 2 weeks out, you start getting the assistant managers, shift managers, and team members. And as a franchisee, we can track all of this. So we expect 95% LTO activation completion. Reason it's not 100 is sometimes we hire minors, 14, 15, 16-year-olds may not even work during that period of time. But so we track that because it's really important when you're rolling out an LTO. There's a lot of time, money, resources, investment, and it's our responsibility to make sure we execute that. So 2 weeks out, all the team members, everyone goes through their training, and then a week out, we have manager meetings, and we've tempered the product, they're trying the product, they're tasting it. I think that goes to being an ambassador of the brand, is getting excited about the product we're rolling out. And then we do like a soft sell. So the first week that it launches, we're not on TV, we're not doing anything crazy. We just have POP up, and then we have our above store leaders go to every one of their locations and do a check for execution. And they're checking POP, they're doing mystery shops, they're doing both order ahead, a drive-through shop, and making sure that we're executing the products both on the front lines and back lines. And then we expect 100% on that as well.
Yeah.
So.
Abby, what about you? What are some of the biggest challenges that you face when trying to execute some of these national campaigns across your different restaurants?
Sure, I think, there's quick turnaround times in all of our businesses, so sometimes things aren't fully tested, and we're finding it out kind of as we go, so that can be a challenge when we run into those kind of situations, or just overly complex, like you said, just multiple things going on at once. Overly complex, overly discounted. We do struggle sometimes with the heavily discounted products.
Good job.
No way. But yeah, those are the main.
Real quick, what I wanted to say on like the overly discounted too is like, if it's not an incremental transaction and you're just overly discounting and you're doing, $1 this or 3 for $5 or something like that, it also does impact the morale of the team because they're busting their ass and they're like looking at comp sales. They're like, oh, we were down. I felt really busy yesterday. Well, it wasn't incremental. People traded down to $1 this, $1 that. So it's something to be cautious of.
Let's dive into the over discounting, right? I think on the corporate side, we think about value, and we have a very complicated relationship with the word value, right? So, do you guys hate every discount?
No, absolutely not. It has a place, right? It's a double-edged sword, and value and discounting doesn't always mean, long-term success and loyalty customers. So it's definitely got its place. It's just how do we balance the discount with profitable transaction growth? So it's just finding that balance. And how do we find that? Sometimes it is a deep discount, and we do those on the spot promotions that are just for that traffic driving. But long term, we have to look at what does it look like over time, and how do we balance the discount so it's strategic and purposeful, not just throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall.
When I think we've all been in the room when we try to get franchisees or leaderships on board, communicate like the long-term value of the discount, right? The incrementality, the visit frequency, all of the buzzwords you can imagine. Profitability, right? Yeah, it's only a 40% food cost. Like, we know all the lingo. But what really resonates with y'all to say, hey, this actually makes sense? Like, help us sell the story better, because what are you looking for when when we're pitching those discounts?
So I think it's a couple things. First, we do have to, one way or another, define success. So it's like, hey, we are going to run a little bit higher of a cost of goods sold. We're going to run this free sandwich or something like that as an example. But we're expecting, I think Donna said earlier, they got 30 to 40% of those guests for the free burger are now still coming to Whataburger. Like, okay, if we said that was kind of the threshold, then that is success. And you can get franchisees on board with that. If you come out and say, hey, we're going to run a free classic roast beef sandwich, and like a lot of people are going to show up, hopefully you guys like it, that's not really going to land well with franchisees. So incremental transactions is a good word, but incremental profitable transactions is kind of a better word for franchisees. But really defining success, because that's where I think the franchisees struggle at times, is like, oh, so we're going to have an increased food cost, huge discount, paying the royalties, paying the tech fee, paying the, yeah.
It's a percent of a percent of a percent kind of thing, yeah. Has there been a really successful national or local activation that kind of sticks out with you of like, hey, we did this really, really well?
I think my favorite was probably the Good Burger 2 movie activation. I just thought it worked really well all around, 360-degree approach. Like, we partnered with Paramount. There was a full campaign on it. In store, we activated. We added on like a crew contest, giving the team Paramount Plus subscriptions for the team members that won. You could stream the movie. It was a co-branded effort with Paramount Plus, and it was a relatively new product. Burger is new for Arby's. It was new for Arby's. Paralleled with the movie, with the burger, the strawberry shake that was a limited time offer, and our fry. So it was just a great meal, and it engaged our guest and team on all levels, and it just produced a really great campaign and results overall.
And just to add on to that, from an operational perspective, this burger had been tested before, so we'd run it. Our team, it was easy to execute. And anytime you have, like, if you can run a successful campaign and you have a beverage attached to it, like, I'm sure that's why McDonald's does a smoothie, because operationally, too, that's really easy to do, good cost as well. But the strawberry shake was like, you just pull a lever. Just felt like I was at a casino there. Anyways. But anyway, so that was great operationally. And then the other thing, too, is this drove incremental profitable transactions. It rose, our check went up, and it was a premium product. So I think that's definitely a great one there.
So I'm hearing, we didn't add a SKU in that one. There wasn't a new thing to add. It was an existing menu item, and it was a value aspect, right? So those are kind of the things that you look for when you're really honing in on what you want to market.
Yeah, and it was fun. I mean, gotta add that.
Now, how do we measure fun, Abby? What's the success metrics look
Very
like? Very
scientific.
So, Abby, when do you determine where you're going to plus up on some of your local media initiatives?
Sure. National. We look at the national calendar at the end of the year. The national calendar comes out for the following year, and so we evaluate that national calendar and then look at sales, seasonality, where we can come in locally based on each individual market. We work with a local agency and look at all of the awesome tools they have and data that they give us, looking at, do we plus up national, or can we run our own message that complements the national message in these windows after we've determined the priority windows? If national has any dark windows, we would of course fill in there, or full national calendar, we would look to plus up, or say run a premium, if national's running a premium, run value underneath those complementing messages.
What about the balance between digital and traditional media at the local level?
Same with that local agency, like working with our agency to look at, where are the eyes at, how are we best driving in traffic into the restaurant. I think, constant conversation we have about impressions and, what we're getting our return on. It's still about driving that traffic. Like, is it producing results? So I think sometimes we get lost in how many impressions and what the data says, but we've got to go back to the basics sometimes, and we're seeing that in our markets. This year kind of went a little deeper into TV, like linear, traditional, when everyone is going full digital. It was a little different for us, a little uncomfortable, but it's working, and so you just, I guess, have to be open to that changing landscape.
That's the interesting thing about local is it's so localized. We're in 7 states in the Midwest, and like South Dakota right now, radio's back. Like that's a thing. So radio's a thing again. So it's like, okay, well that you wouldn't think would be somewhere you'd be placing money, but in South Dakota, radio works. In Kirksville, Missouri, people still watch the local 6 p.m. news. So like having local TV is important. But maybe in Des Moines, one of our bigger markets, or Madison, digital still plays a pretty big role in our strategy there. So it's very, very localized by DMA.
Do you guys still have a heavy reliance on print, too, on the FSAs and the coupons that we go through the newspapers?
So a lot of franchisees in corporate have 11 drops. We do 4, so not really.
Not as much. Yeah. Mitch, on your side, you are maybe one of the only operators in this room, but I do think we can all agree we have a frenemy relationship with our third-party delivery partners, right? I don't know if there's any of those in the room, but how are you guys thinking about the omni-channel experience between in-store ordering, are kiosks on your mind, the app, third-party delivery? Are they making your life more complicated, or are they actually servicing the customer that in a way that you guys couldn't?
So my only concern with third-party delivery, and I guess this goes for all of us, is like, are they getting a quality product when it arrives in their home? Like, I think that's something that's challenging to control. Is are they coming in and are they, if it's DoorDash, are they using their proper red bag? How does that travel? So that's a little bit of concern. I have a bias towards drive-through in restaurant because I think we can control more of that environment. Personally, so that's where I'd be more focused. Order ahead has been a great thing because they can come in and it's geo-fenced and it's timed to their order, so I have more confidence that the person that's grabbing the bag is actually eating the food. Yeah. But I do get a little nervous with 3PD.
Yeah.
I rolled out delivery, so it's like my baby. But I love the space. I don't think it's going anywhere, so I'm all in. Adapt to it. Let's figure it out. Let's figure out how to do it the best we can. Obviously, there are its challenges, but I don't see it going anywhere. I think we're getting lazier as a society, so I don't think delivery is going anywhere, right?
Well, and it has been, to her point, it has been totally incremental to our business. I think these are a lot of people that weren't focused on Arby's, but they were just on DoorDash, and we had paid media behind it. And
yeah, at the end of the day, you have your delivery customer, or you have like your Arby's customer. You're saying, hey, I'm definitely going to get this delivered, and maybe Arby's is going to be an option here, right?
Yeah, I don't think we could fill that space by ourselves. I think we have to have that addition.
And Arby's skews a little bit older on demographics too.
I am shocked. Abby, if we think about the local aspect, right? We heard from Donna about how they are trying to get into the community and personalize Whataburger, get that kind of Texas influence in something like Kansas, who may not be familiar. What are you guys doing to give back to that community and to kind of make them feel a little bit more connected to Arby's versus like just a national brand?
Sure. Yeah, I loved hearing from Donna. Like, it felt like there was some parallels, and thought it just, was a great brand story. I feel like Arby's has some of the same stories as well. But locally, we do try to really engage with our community. I think, again, first, we start that engagement at the team level, and then it can move to the community. I think you have to have that great connection with your team first. But a national campaign, for example, our Make a Difference campaign is a fundraising effort through our Arby's Foundation, and we'll bring it in-house and localize it with crew contests. We get our team really excited about it. We also engage our guests during those periods of donations, we engage our guests with thank yous at the store. So we have a big thank you display. We are letting our guests know who they're donating to. So it's not just, hey, do you want to come in and donate to America's youth? It's very broad, but instead our guests come in and they see we donated to the local organization that they might be heavily involved with. Our money does go back to our exact community that they're donating the money in. So we display that. Who have we donated to? Who have we given the money to? And then we also have a big thank you for them. So engaging the guests there, engaging our team with contests to get them excited about organizations, asking our team for what organization they're involved with, and then we look to donate to them. I mean, we have a very, open door policy with our team. Who are you engaged with in the community? Who do you get excited about helping, and who do you give back to? We're very kid-focused, hunger, career readiness, supporting the child from, birth to graduation and career, and getting them out into the world as successful adults. So there's an open window of who we can donate to. So we like to ask our team, who would you like to donate to? Who do you see in this community that really is making a big impact? And we let it be known to our guests, to our team. And then benefit nights. We donate back to churches and schools, a lot of parent-teacher organizations, but it extends beyond that, kid-focused organizations, churches and schools, but the team, just their job, we take care of all of it at our corporate office, support office, and then the team just has to wow the guests that night, right? Let's give awesome service to everyone that comes in. Let's engage the community partner that we're donating to. They'll come in and actually be in the restaurant, clearing tables, talking to the guests. So it's just a full engagement from our team to our guests to that community partner, and then we're able to give back money in that local community.
Last question before I open it up to the audience. Nostalgia has been kind of a key theme that we've seen already today. Whataburger, 75 years. I think CC's is 40 years. Arby's celebrated 60 years last year. So what are some of the ways that y'all tapped into that kind of nostalgia marketing and maybe re-engaging lapsed guests who haven't come in a while?
So according to a recent Harris poll, we don't have lapsed guests, but for those, okay. But
the operator is surprising us all today.
But anyways, that's a great question. So last year was 60th anniversary. We ran a beef week. So I don't know if you guys are around Arby's growing up. 5 for $5 was a big thing. We ran that for a week. So that was one way we tapped into nostalgia. Another thing, I think Donna was talking about the mushroom burger and how they have a group where people can give feedback. Well, we have hate groups at Arby's for potato cake hate groups. So we actually recently just came back with potato cakes, and we did a whole activation around Arby's filed a pre-class action lawsuit on ourselves. So if we ever take potato cakes out again, we're suing ourselves. So it's kind of a fun, buzzy way to tap into nostalgia, but also bring back what the people wanted.
Is there a statute of limitations on that?
I don't know. I'm surprised it got through, but I think there's $1 million of free food if they actually were to get rid of it, but I don't think that'll happen for a
In the
couple
form
years.
of gift cards.
Yeah.
Coupon cards.
Do we have questions from the audience for Abby or Mitch? I see one.
Okay. Darren was going to call on you, so this is good. Haven't seen you in so long, man. 2004. Nah, well, Smith Harmon. That's
The question, John. The question.
Aaron Smith from SageFlow. I love your example of giving back. Curious if you have other examples of successful local campaigns you've done that corporate would basically never do because it just doesn't make sense.
I guess promotion-wise, we were a little bit of a trailblazer in ham. We have the meats, if you haven't heard. But we did bring back ham, so that was a big day for us. Our franchise is always the first to kind of raise our hand for tests because we love to be the ones to give the feedback. Our team, we're very connected to our field team, our ops team. Thanks to Mitchell and leading that leadership style, open door with that feedback, and our team is not afraid to give it. So we are excited to be the first to find all of the great things that we can improve about any test. So ham was a great promotion for us when we first started testing. I mean, South Dakota loves ham, but so does the rest of the Midwest. But that was just one thing that we chose to test. It took off, it went well, and now it just rolled out nationally on Monday. So very successful.
Okay, one more back here in the middle.
Hi, Wes from iSpot. I really enjoyed the presentation. I have a question. Abby, you mentioned linear, like local linear, and I'm curious, we kind of have a take around CTV as being the new local. So tell us a little bit about, I'm interested to understand like the balance between incrementality and how you're looking for those pockets of unexposed versus exposed when you're thinking about video and television in particular at the local level.
Sure, yeah, we do a combination of linear and CTV. I definitely leave that up to my agency experts to come to me with recommendations and, you know, with nuances in each market, kind of look at what's available, who we can reach in those markets. So it's definitely market specific. But we are looking at that balance. It's very specific to market, the combination between CTV and linear TV, but we're always looking to tap into that market. It's definitely something we're looking at.
Awesome. Mitch, Abby, thank you guys both so much.